What up though guys, it's your boy Mob City back with another video, a different kind of video. Today is currently Thursday. I wanted to share with you guys what happened to me Monday night at Locals. So, pretty much, I topped, as in I went undefeated with Belo Betty. This list of Belo Betty, I will say, it was kind of a sort of a last minute throw together. I did have some inspiration with a very good Belo Betty player known as hashtag EMB. I will link his channel in the description below, but he has a list pretty much that is this, and I feel like as the meta stands right now, this is like the standard list. You can always, make some changes or, mess around with the ratios or within here. But today, I just want to do a simple deck profile about how it went. So I went 4-0. First round was against Green Purple Luffy. Second round was against Dofi. Third round was Green Purple Luffy again. And my last round was against the Mirror, crazy enough. And I'm not gonna lie, I had a lot of fun. This is one of those leaders that I did put a lot of study and time to as like the game progressed, especially when she first came out. I was definitely one of those people who was playing Cracker and all these different triggers in the deck. But without further ado, let's just get into the little deck breakdown. So Belo Betty, red yellow leader, if you didn't know, very aggressive leader, has an effect that says activate main once per turn. You can discard one Revolutionary Army type card from your hand to give 3 of your Revolutionary Army or trigger type characters a 3k power for this turn. So literally, it doesn't have to be Revolutionary Army. It could just have trigger in its card text, and it can get the benefits from Belo. We gonna start off with the 3 Inazumas. Rush Inazuma. If a character on board has 7,000 or more power, this character gains Rush. Very simple effect. Then you got the 4-cost Emporio of Ivankov. Excuse me. This character, if he's at 7,000 power, you can cheat out a 5,000 power Revolutionary Army from your hand once per turn, by the way. Then you have Karasu. Karasu on play, he gives either a leader or a character minus 1,000 power if your Revolutionary Army, if your leader is a Revolutionary Army. But when he's attacking, he does the same thing, but he has to be 7,000 power, and it doesn't matter if your leader is Revolutionary Army, which is pretty spicy. Then you got the 2k Koala. All she does is just minus 3k to a character on your opponent's board. Then you got the KO Bartholomew Kuma. He just KOs a 2k or less. Nothing too fancy about this card besides the fact that he does have a trigger, and it specifically says if the leader is mixed color, play this card. That is very important for those people who wants to try shenanigans with Revolutionary Army leaders. Then you got the Searcher Belo Betty. She looks at top 5 to find a Revolutionary Army except herself. Then you got the Morley, the unblockable Morley. If he's a 7k power, run 4 of those for reasons I will explain later. Limburg KOs 3,000 power or less character when attacking if he's at 7k. Then you have the free Emporio Ivankov. When I say free, I mean you play him and you look at the top 3 of your deck and you play a Revolutionary Army character with 5,000 power or less. I will get into the combo with this guy in a minute because this card definitely came in clutch in one of my games. Then I'm playing the Raise Max. Raise Max is just a good one cost card for your turn 2, or if they make you go first, you either want to see him or Belo Betty. Also, he has a nifty effect where he can just minus 3k power on the opponent's character. That also comes in clutch during certain matchups. Then you got the relatively newer Revolutionary Armor card, as in Blocker Koala. You can add either the top or your bottom life card to your hand, then play a 4-cost or less Revolutionary Armor character from your hand and then draw a card. Then we got Vanilla 2k Kuma. Obviously he is just a vanilla, no stats, no effect, but his trigger makes sense for you and your opponent to equal out a 5 life so you can play this card. Then we run in Imperial Tension Hormone, just a simple event card that you can pitch off a leader ability, or you can actually use it as a counter because it gives your leader plus 3k. And then with an additional effect, you can play a revolutionary army with 5,000 power or less from your hand. Like I said, pretty simple card. And then last card is the stage, which is general headquarters. You trash a card from your hand, doesn't matter the card, and you look at top 3 to grab a revolutionary army, put the rest at the bottom of the deck. Now, I'm not gonna lie. The first round against GP Luffy was pretty much that. It was a slaughter. It was pretty fast. I think our game was like a little less than 10 minutes. I found the curve of Ivankov. No, I saw Belo, I saw Ivankov, I saw Karasu, and I saw Inazuma. That was literally all the cards I needed to see, and I saw them in sequence off of Belo and beat him in less than 5 minutes. My second game was against Blue Dofi, and that game was a little bit more scary, in my opinion, because if they see Law, Jozu, and or Gravity Blade, this game becomes miserable. But in this game, I had to counter out to keep Karasu on board, keep my Limburg on board, and find something important off of Emporio Ivankov, which I did end up finding something, and it was another Ivankov, but I didn't have no cards in hand. He got me down to my last life, and this popped up in my last life. I'm just saying I stole the game from there. Game 3 was against another GP Luffy and green purple Luffy. This matchup, I didn't see Karasu at all. Instead, I saw Ivankov, I saw Morley, and I saw Limburg, and I said, you know what, I can do this without the Karasu, in which I did, and I just kept choking and putting pressure on his board when he had bodies to swing at me with, because again, I didn't have the early setup like I should have. And then when his board was pretty much cleared out, I started attacking his face, and there was no way he was coming out of that. My last game was against the Mirror. I should have lost that game because I was overusing Belo Betty's effect too much, and I ended up towards the end of the game having no cards in my hand, but I still had 3 life to my opponent's 1. He had a full board of Ivankov, Karasu, and I believe the Kuma, which was a whole back and forth. We was both hitting triggers, a Kuma trigger, a Limburg trigger, which, by the way, the Limburg trigger is what you need, or Limburg is pretty much what you need in that matchup to blow up any of their cards in combination with Koala. So let's talk about some of these changes. So me personally, I will reduce some of my breaks. I'm definitely reduce the Koala. I'll reduce the stage and the tension hormone to add what is new to the game currently, the 2K Sabo, right? There's an argument to reducing Akuma or Morley. I personally would reduce a Morley because, again, non-counter cards. I believe having 2Ks in this deck is pretty good, because what you don't want to do is not have, in certain matchups, not have cards in your hand to like protect your board, especially if it's one of those situations where, you know, you have the Ivankov, you have the Karasu, or you have a Morley or a Limburg, and you know you have nothing but counter in your hand, which is possible. It doesn't happen all the time, but when you have enough counter in your hand, sometimes you might want to treat your deck like a Blue Dofi deck and just protect your board as much as you can. Let certain cards go, because certain cards after a while don't matter. Like obviously you would let a 1 cost go, a 2 cost go, another 1 cost go, but if you can't help it, you will save Ivankov. Sometimes you will save a Karasu. A lot of times you will save Ivankov. You might save the Morley. But throwing this 2K in there, I feel like will benefit, especially with Sabo's effect, which is a main effect, very important against Blackbeard. Up to one of your revolutionary characters other than Sabo's gain 2,000 for this turn. Now mind you, she boosts everybody by 3. So This is a 7K. This is an 8K. This is an 8K. This is a 6K. This is 5, 5, 8, 8, 9, 5, 9, 8. It's like your whole deck is so bulky and fat when you start swinging at your opponent, especially when you add Karasu on top of it. If they don't have the cards to counter out your swings, they pretty much get pressured so bad that the game can end in literal 2 to 3 turns. And that's exactly what happened with us this past Monday. Another interchangeable card I have is really the Raise Max and Tension Hormone. Even though Tension Hormone really came in clutch against my second GP Luffy match, he swung it to me on turn 2, and this came out of life, and I had a Volkov in my hand. And Volkov into the Limburg, and then I played out the Morley. Like that's pretty much almost a complete dream. If it was Karasu instead, I think the game would have been over that much sooner. But with that being said, I think realistically what I would want to do is try to find a way to add Blocku Karasu in hand. And if you do that, you kind of reduce the amount of 2Ks, in my opinion, because they essentially sort of serve the same thing. I'll definitely try to find a way to cram Karasu in there. If you're playing Sabos for the trigger, you'll probably try to find a way to put Sabos in there. Or even if you're trying to put in the yellow Belo, which draws you 2 cards, it's kind of flexible. It all just depends on what your locals is, what your meta is, and if you feel like when you go into your next big event, like online treasure cups or regional, you do what you have to do that works for you. I went in this with this standard mindset because I felt like even if I played against one GP Luffy, even if I don't see a Volkov, which is pretty much a key part in that matchup, I still have other bodies that I can play to pressure my opponent with. Like, I'm not even gonna say easily, but enough to where I can at least get the game 2-3 turns in. Another card that is possible in this deck is the Inazuma. The yellow Inazuma rests one of your opponent's characters with a cost equal or less to, you and your opponent's life cards. So let's just say it's still early, they trying to starve you or whatnot. They might throw out blockers because decks like Bonnie, Smoker, when I say Smoker, red, green, and black Smoker, they both have blockers. A lot of decks who play both on the offensive and defensive end, they play blockers. If they've been trying to starve you, this card really does rest a blocker so you can swing out until they leader, if not into their bodies, depending on the matchup, obviously. Another card that I believe was announced for us, y'all could correct me in the comments, but I believe this was announced for us recently that we're finally getting this Provo Sambo, which this card is also very good against your starve matchups because you're just taking your life and you still putting on pressure at the same time. Then on top of that, this is the only Revolutionary Army character with a 5 cost that's 5k power that could be cheated out with a Volkov. In my opinion, that's pretty good. Now, another thing that I'm kind of flip-flopping about is Tension Hormone, because Tension Hormone, is really good in life and sometimes is really good during combat, but other than that, all it is just another pitch fodder for your leader to boost up your board. I will say the next time I play, hopefully I can get in one of the store championships this weekend, that if I do go in, this is actually going to be the list I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna go ahead and grab some Sabos from my locals and then throw these in here, see if it actually matters between having 4 stages versus 4. 3 stages instead of 4, and then 3 tension hormones instead of 4. Only other thing I would try to increase, as a matter of fact, now that I'm looking at this list, I think I would rather have my chances go up. So instead I'll play 3 of this Sabo and then 4 Kumas, because this card has a trigger coming out of life. Yeah, he boosts one of your characters. He doesn't boost all of them. But I like to play around with the triggers. Trigger happy is not my it's not my favorite thing about the One Piece game, but if I'm going to play a deck with triggers in it, best believe I'm going to try to play as many triggers as possible to get that type of consistency in the deck. Now, like I said, everybody, the ratios is up to you. I'm just letting you know how I felt about my Monday. And shoot, to be honest with you, the last time I even got first place was Calgara in OP08. That was the last time I got first place, and I didn't even make the channel yet. But all in all, I think I'm gonna stick with Belo for right now. I am looking for another deck to play. I don't think it's gonna be Vegapunk because Namis are kind of up there in price in terms of my budget. The only other deck I do kind of have my eyes set on, and I'm not gonna lie, and you guys seen it, is, I think it's still here. It's Chopper, because everybody knows Chopper just got his new support. So that being said, I know this is, you know, a ranting video, a bit of a different video, but I wanted to just let you know that, hey, I do play IRL at my locals. I try to play either between once to twice a week if I can. And right now I'm on the Belo Betty train. I did play her when she first came out. I do pull her out every once in a while. I think that she is very, very, very good going into this upcoming meta, because how else are you supposed to beat a deck that ramps? You have to rush them down with characters while they ramp up with events. That's just my opinion. If you guys have different opinions, let me know in the comments below. So if you enjoy the content, make sure you give it a like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and let them know that there's a guy on the internet playing all these different leaders from all these different sets. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.